Alright, today we're going to be tearing down a SSR125 motor, and we're going to go ahead and start by pulling off intake, head, cylinder, flywheel here. So first thing I'm going to have is an impact and 8mm. I'm going to pull this intake off. And that'll have a gasket seal there that'll need cleaned up. We've got 4 10mm bolts on top here, or nuts I guess. Pull this cover off here, being careful not to break that cover. We'll go ahead and pull this other side as well. We've got 2 8mm up top, right above the spark plug there, and then a 10mm. And this one gives us enough room there to pull that. Now I'm going to go ahead, pull this cover here. I got to put pressure on it, and then that should allow me to pull this. This bolt goes all the way through, holding this cover on. So that is how you get this cover that says CDI on it. That's how you get that off. Spin this 10mm bolt that goes all the way through there, and that'll allow that to come off. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover here. These all have gasket surfaces, so just be really careful, especially if you're using a screwdriver to pull these off. It'd be a better idea to use something plastic. So pull that head cover off. Your valve adjust caps right here, 17mm. We actually won't need to pull those off at this time. And we'll turn it back this other way because we'll have to pull the cam chain. I'll try tipping this motor up here so you can see what that looks like. We've got 3 9mm bolts. Holding that sprocket on. And just kind of pry that cam sprocket off of there. Set that down there. And then what I'm going to do is put this cam sprocket back on there. That way we would keep it all together. And tighten these up quick. No need to tighten these all the way because they'll have to come back off at some point anyways. So then we've got our 10mm down there. That I try to get with a socket, but we may need to probably use a wrench on that one. There we go, and then this kind of holds that head onto that cylinder there. You can also use a Phillips screwdriver, but it'll be a little bit harder to get it loosened with a Phillips screwdriver. So once you get it loosened, you can put a Phillips on there and turn that off there. Alright, that's all for the cylinder head. Go ahead and just slide that off of there. And there's your cylinder head. We've got your valves here. We've got exhaust valve on this side, a little bit smaller. Intake on this side, a little bit bigger. Got your spark plug there, coming from that side. And I'm going to go ahead and put this cover back on there. That way we kind of hold all that together. I'm not going to tighten it up or anything, just kind of put it there together. Now we've got a roller in the center of that cylinder here, near this cam chain that kind of rolls. That cam chain just kind of rolls around it. That's a 10 millimeter that we'll pull off of there. And we'll have to do that to remove that cylinder. And we'll just kind of try to slide out the top there. There we go. And there's the bolt that goes with that. It's threaded on this side, spins on it on this side. So got another bolt there that we'll probably have to pull off with the wrench. This holds the cylinder on. Here's your head gasket here. That's just a paper gasket. And then we can, I like to find a good spot that's not going to damage any fins. But a lot of times you got to take and just tap on it with a hammer, kind of break that seal. You don't want to tap too hard if it's not coming off. Try something different. There we go. It did break that seal free, so it's just about there. Again, you don't want to break these fins on the cylinder, so just be really careful when you're doing anything like this. And you also don't want to damage the gasket surface. So, broke it free there, pull it up. We've got, you know, it doesn't feel like any grooves in that cylinder. We'll inspect that. Looks like grooves on here, but just visible. You can't even feel them. So, pull a circlip here to this piston. Just grab a pair of pliers, kind of twist it in. Push the pin out the opposite direction. There's a pin there with the piston. And we'll go ahead and pull this flywheel off at this time in the stator. So drop that up there so you can see it. We've got 8 millimeters holding this case on. If your motor's pulled, you would have already had to pull this cover because this has got the countershaft sprocket sits behind here. This is 9 millimeters, so we need 8 millimeters to pull these covers. Got that cover pulled off there. Now, I've already pulled this flywheel once, but I'll show you exactly how to do it. We've got a nut here. Let's see, it's a 14. So spin that nut off of there. We've got a flywheel puller. And the flywheel puller looks like this. It's a 27 millimeter threaded, left-hand threaded, 1.0 millimeters threads that you spin on here. And you spin it all the way down. You want to make sure that it's snug as far down as it'll go. That way it's grabbing all the threads of that flywheel. Now what you do is take an impact, and in this case it's a 17 millimeter. Run this down and it'll push against that crank and pull that flywheel off just like that. So that's how you pull a flywheel on one of these. Next we've got your stator, and it looks like we've got a couple of Phillips holding that on. And for Phillips on a stator like this, when you know you're going to have some pressure, I like to grab an impact driver. And a lot of times one tap will break those free. We'll do the same on this one. You can do it with a screwdriver, it's just a little more of a challenge. What an impact driver does is turn as well as kind of breaks that bolt free. Now that we've got those loosened up, just take them out there, and you can, this is a sealed area, so this a lot of times take a little bit of work to open it up here, but just pull on it there, and there is your stator assembly with a plate, and we've got all your cam chain parts down below here. The stator, that produces spark for your bike. So we've got your, and I'll turn this here, we've got your cam chain assembly here. We've got your tensioner that comes up from the bottom, and that puts tensioner on this roller here, this sprocket, and tightens that cam chain up so that it's not too loose. So I will set this kind of back down here and pull that with a 14 millimeter. Go ahead and pull that tensioner. You've got oil in the bottom there. That's spring loaded, so be careful when you're pulling that out. And then we just kind of push it out there. And then you can see it go up and down there. It's just a rod that pushes up on this. So we're just going to slide it down the bottom there. We're going to keep all this together. $17 millimeter. The other part of this is the sprocket part of that tensioner. And then we've got another roller down here that didn't have any teeth on it at all. So we'll go ahead and move this countershaft, remove that countershaft sprocket as well while we're here. But before we do that, I'll go ahead and pull this other roller here. That way this is finished. We've got a 5 millimeter Allen to loosen here. Pull that out. There's your last roller. So we've got two rollers. One up in the cylinder. We've got this one down in the crankcase. All right, 10 millimeter. We'll pull this countershaft sprocket. Use a rag or something because a lot of times these will spin. And this right here is a keeper. So you got to do kind of an eighth of a turn to pull that off. A lot of times these are filled with goop from the chain, dirt and stuff like that. That sprocket's still in good condition. So pull this cam chain out. We've got 8 millimeter bolts going around here, and that's what will hold that crankcase together. But we'll go ahead and flip the motor over and pull these clutches. Well, 8 millimeter bolts all the way around this clutch cover here. Looks like 8 millimeter bolts. Here's your oil filler here. Got it right here. It's also your dipstick. I'm going to pull your clutch cable off here if I can. When there's that much, might just do it after I pull this cover. And take something, just kind of tap on this. Try to break that seal that's holding this on. All right, cover's ready to come off. There's your clutch cover there.